So hi, today we're going to talk about conceptual framework. So what is conceptual framework? Well, we have three definitions for you guys, so let us start. The conceptual framework sets out the concepts that underlie the preparation and presentation of financial statements for external users. The conceptual framework is an attempt to provide an over-theoretical foundation for accounting which will guide standard setters, preparers, and users of financial information in the preparation and presentation of statements. Lastly, the conceptual framework is concerned with general-purpose financial statements including consolidated financial statements. So what is the purpose of the conceptual framework? First is to assist FRSC in developing accounting standards and reviewing existing standards. Second, to assist preparers of financial statements in applying accounting standards and in dealing with issues not yet covered by GAAP. Third, to assist FRSC in the review and adoption of international financial reporting standards. And to assist users of financial statements in interpreting the information contained in the financial statements. To assist auditors in forming an opinion as to whether financial statements conform with Philippine GAAP. And lastly, is to provide information to those interested in the work of the FRSC in the formulation of PFRS. Let us now discuss the authoritative status of conceptual framework. So, first, PFRS shall be applied to transactions, other events, or conditions where their application permits. In the absence of PFRS, management must use its judgment in developing and applying an accounting policy that results in information that is relevant and reliable. In making judgment, management shall refer and consider applicability of the following sources according to priority. First, the requirement in PFRS that deals with similar and related issues. And lastly, with a conceptual framework. So, let us discuss the brief background of PFRS. PFRS is the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. The Financial Reporting Standards Council is the accounting standard setting body created by Professional Regulation Commission or the PRC upon recommendation by the Board of Accountancy to assist in carrying out its powers and functions provided under RA 9298, which is the law regulating the practice of accountancy in the Philippines. So, the accounting standards promulgated by the Financial Reporting Standards constitutes the highest hierarchy, which is the PFRS. So, let us keep in mind that PFRS and the conceptual framework are different. First, conceptual framework is not a PFRS. Second, the conceptual framework does not define standard for any particular measurement or disclosure issue. Third, nothing in this conceptual framework overrides any specific Philippine financial reporting standard. And lastly, in case where there is a conflict, the requirement of the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards shall prevail over the conceptual framework. So that's all.
Now, let's discuss the scope of the framework. But now, let's identify the objective of the framework. So, we would identify the objective of the financial reporting, which is to provide financial information about a specific entity that is useful to existing and potential investors, lenders, and other creditors in making decisions about providing resources to the entity. Users. And now, after we have identified the objective, we would classify the users of the said financial report into two classes. First are the existing and potential investors and existing lenders and other creditors. Existing and potential investors need general-purpose financial reports in order to enable them in making decisions whether to buy, sell, or hold equity investments. Existing and potential lenders and other creditors needs general-purpose financial reports in order to enable them in making decisions whether to provide or settle loans and other forms of credit. And now we will learn what are the needed qualitative characteristics of a useful information. But in order to understand it better, we would define first what it is all about. Qualitative characteristics are qualities that make a financial information useful to the users. There are two types of qualitative characteristics which are the fundamental and for enhancing. The fundamental qualitative characteristic relates to the content of financial information. Under the fundamental qualitative characteristics, there are also two types which are the relevance and faithful representation. Let's discuss first the relevance. It is the capacity of making a difference in the decision made by users. And under the relevance, the useful financial information should be of two types, which are predictive value, in which the financial information can be used as an input in predicting future outcome. And the second one is the confirmatory value, in which the financial information has confirmatory value if it is provide feedback about previous evaluations. The second type of qualitative characteristic is the faithful representation, which means that financial information must match the words and numbers on what really existed or happened. It requires three characteristics, which are completeness, which means that all information necessary for understanding of phenomena should be depicted shall be provided. Next is the neutrality, which means that financial information are selected without bias. And lastly, free from error, which means that faithful representation does not mean accurate in all aspects, but instead it means that there is no error in the description of the phenomenon. Now we would learn about the enhancing qualitative characteristics, which relates to the presentation or form of the financial information. There are four needed characteristics under 4C. First is the verifiability, which means that different, knowledgeable, and independent could reach consensus, although not necessarily complete agreement that a particular description is a faithful representation. Second is the comparability, which enables users to identify and understand similarities in and differences among items. Third is the understandability, which is classifying, characterizing, and presenting information clearly and concisely making it. And lastly, the timeliness, which is having the information available to decision makers in time to be capable of influencing their presentation. One of the most important parts in the financial statements are the elements, which are divided into elements directly related to the measurement of financial position and financial performance. Under the elements directly related to the measurement of financial position are assets, liabilities, and equity. Asset is defined as a resource controlled by the entity as a result of past events and from which future economic benefits are expected to flow to the entity. Liability is the present obligation of the entity arising from past events, the settlement of which is expected to result in an outflow from the entity of resources embodying economic benefits. And lastly, the equity, which is the residual interest in the assets after deducting all its liabilities. And under the elements directly related to the measurement of financial performance, it has two types, which are income and expense. Income is increase in a hunting period in the inflow of assets and decreases of liabilities that result in increase in equity other than those relating to contributions from equity. Income encompasses both revenue, which arises in the course of ordinary activities such as sales. Gains represents other items that meet the definition of income and may or may not arise in the course of ordinary activities of an entity. Last element, which is the expense, which are decreases in economic benefits during the accounting period in form of outflow or assets of incurrences of liabilities that result in decreases in equity other than that those relating to distributions of equity participants. It encompasses expense arising in the course of ordinary activities of the entity, and losses represent other items that meet the definition of expense and may or may not arise in the course of the ordinary activities. And now let's discuss the capital and capital maintenance. A financial concept of capital is one whereby capital is linked to the net assets or equity of a company. A physical concept of capital is where capital is linked to the productive capacity of the entity. And last, we will discuss the underlying assumptions of the framework. Accounting assumptions are the basic notations or fundamental premises in which the accounting process is based. Accounting assumptions are also known as postulates. First is the going concern. The going concern or continuity assumption means that in the absence of evidence to the contrary, the accounting entity is viewed as a continuing in operations indefinitely. Second is the accounting entity. Under this assumption, the entity is separate from the owners, managers, and employees who constitute the entity. The reason for the entity assumption is to have fair representation of financial statements. Third is the time period. A calendar year is a 12-month period that ends on December 31. A natural business year is a 12-month period that ends on any month when the business is at the lowest or experiencing slack season. And lastly, the monetary unit. The quantifiability aspect means that the asset, liabilities, equity, income, and expense should be stated in terms of a unit of measure, which is the peso in the Philippines.
Okay guys, thank you for watching our video, The Conceptual Framework. Please don't forget
To like and subscribe. Thank you.